What's up, guys? Welcome back to Punk Politics. I'm Thompsin. So there's going to be a lot in the news today and tomorrow about the pensions triple lock, about how we absolutely should increase pensions in line with inflation, in line with wage growth. But this is just the latest story where we're talking about funneling out a few billion for this and why was this neglected. Last week it was prison security and the probation service. The week before it was, why didn't we fund schools properly? So before we move effortlessly on to why are the hospitals so underfunded? And how come my taxes are so high? Let's just pause for thought. Let's just break for a second and talk about how fudged the UK economy actually is. The UK's national debt has increased by 40% since the pandemic. It is now at £2.6 trillion. Whereas GDP is only £2.2 trillion. So for everything we make and generate profit from in the entire economy, all of that is accounted for and some. It is eclipsed by UK debt. And I don't mean consumer debt. I don't mean your debt or my debt. I mean money that the government has borrowed off bond buyers that they now have to pay interest back on. So this is like maxing out your Visa card to more than your salary. Like, you'll still have to pay your credit card payments every month, but the total debt of your credit card is now more than your actual income. You're an office manager on 30 grand, but with 50 grand of credit card debt. And it's weird, isn't it? Because in society, in the media, we call people who do that financially irresponsible, silly, morons. But in economics or politics, we call them Tories. Anyway, here's the thing with the UK economy, is it depended too much on bonds, on borrowing money. And these bonds are index linked, which means the interest payments that we pay out to the bondholders, that goes up in line with inflation. So unfortunately for the UK government, as your shopping bills went up and my energy bills soared, so did their bond interest payments. And so the output of that unfortunate situation is the UK now pay more to service their debt than any other major nation. Yeah, we are fudged. Now, you might have heard of a body called the Office of Budget Responsibility, the OBR, and it's their job as an independent institution to look at what the UK government is doing, to look at the Treasury, to look at the performance in the wider economy, to weigh up all the facts and stats and figures, get rid of the obfuscation and the slogans, and just come back with some cool-headed analysis. And do you know what that analysis said? It said UK debt could triple to 3 times GDP by 2050. Now, maybe you're thinking, that's okay, you know, because on the plus side, I'll be dead by then. But no, just forget 2050 and the 300% GDP. Just forget that for a minute. Because you have to remember, right, 300% is here. When Greece defaulted, went cap in hand to the IMF and the European Central Bank, they were just 175% of GDP debt ratio. So that's like nearly half of the 300%. And we're already over 100% of GDP to debt now. You get the idea. Anyway, look, long before we hit that 300% debt to GDP figure, things are going to get really, really bad. Like, sometimes I think the media really do such a disservice in terms of how things sink off and further out from the front page, you know? Do you remember all the talk and the hysteria around the mini budget? The spiking markets, the soaring borrowing rates. And then Jeremy Hunt came in and, it was a safe pair of hands. And he got it all settled and things kind of went back to normal. Okay, great. It's like, yeah, you know, the borrowing price went back down for a bit. But here's the thing. Bonds are now back up to that same higher cost of borrowing as they were at the mini budget level. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, they went even higher. So we're back at that same crisis point, except without the crisis. Because the state of the UK economy and the risk that bond buyers take on is becoming higher and higher every day, that at some point the UK might default on all of this stuff. Meaning the Treasury have to offer higher and higher interest rates to make it appealing for them to still enter the UK bond market. So we're now in this endless debt spiral where we have no growth, you can't raise taxes, there's no money to pay for anything, you can't borrow more, but even if you did want to borrow more, it would make borrowing more expensive. And so now, I'll tell you where we are, right? Bear in mind that Greece and Italy were bailed out only just over a decade ago. Well, it is now more expensive for the UK to borrow money on the international markets than either Greece or Italy. Just take that in for a minute. We are now seen as higher risk than bailed out nations. But what do you guys think? Do you think a UK default is inevitable? Do you think we'll somehow find a way out of this mess? Or are you like me, where you hold little to no hope or optimism for the future of the country or indeed human civilization? Let me know in the comments below. I'm out this Mother Hubbard.